So we are a decentralized 2018 organized by the University of Nicosia, and I am with Roger Ver. We are going to be talking about success mindset, Bitcoin Cash. And Roger, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you too.
Okay, so Roger, what I want to ask, you're a very successful person. Who was Roger Ver before he became Roger Ver?
I've always been Roger Ver.
Yeah, okay, Roger Ver, Bitcoin Jesus.
I was, I think, kind of a lifelong entrepreneur. My whole life, I've liked buying and selling things. Thankfully, I was never interested in drugs, or I probably would have wound up buying and selling drugs with cryptocurrencies. But even in junior high, for example, I remember some of our teachers were selling candy bars to the students to do fundraising for whatever, and I thought, well, if they can sell candy bars, I can sell candy bars too. So I asked my parents to take me to Costco, and I had, I don't know, maybe $15 I had found over months of searching couch cushions for quarters or whatever,
right,
and bought some candy bars. They cost about 20 cents each at Costco, and I could sell them for 50 cents each. And so I would carry a shoebox with me to school each day with all the candy bars, and kids would rather deal with other kids than deal with the scary teacher, so all the kids would rather buy candy bars for me. So I sold candy bars every day to the kids at school, and I could make an extra, maybe $40 a week in junior high school. That was huge money as a junior high school kid, right? So I was lucky enough to have parents that were willing to drive me to Costco because I wasn't old enough to go myself, but they were encouraging of my entrepreneurial spirit there. And the teachers, they weren't happy that I was selling candy bars, but they were doing the exact same thing, and they didn't feel comfortable saying, "Oh, we're going to do it, but you can't." And it was just candy bars; it wasn't drugs. So,
right.
So it was a great business when I was in junior high.
So you were basically in sales. You got into sales from an early age.
Yeah, I guess I had a little bit of a natural instinct for that. But I think part of it, though, too, it was in maybe the last year of junior high, or right. It was before I went to college. I started reading these economics books, and when you read economics books, you realize that any business is, regardless of what that business is it's taking something and moving it from where it's worth less to where it's worth more. So in the case of the candy bars, you're moving candy bars from Costco where they're worth less to the school where they're worth more. But that's not the only thing. Even like a consulting business, if you think about it, you're taking you as a person, and you're moving your time from where it's worth less, sitting at home watching TV, to where it's worth more, going and consulting and giving people advice about something. So every business, so regardless of what it is, you're just taking something and moving it from where it's worth less to where it's worth more. And even with Bitcoin, I saw it the same way. We took these Bitcoins early on when they were worth less, and we moved them into a future in which they're worth more because there's all this ecosystem around them that allowed them to be used as money. And so I just kind of saw it as part of the natural progression of taking something from where it's worth less to where it's worth more, and making more economic freedom for the entire world as well. Because when people are allowed to bring things from where they're worth less to where they're worth more, that's how economic prosperity is created. That's all anything is, right, in the economy. Let's make the world a better place, and cryptocurrencies are a great way to do it.
So what drove you and what kept you going? What was the driving factor behind all this?
All this meaning my involvement in cryptocurrencies?
Becoming who you are right now, being the Bitcoin Cash person you are, if you will.
So I remember as a kid reading books and studying about the human brain and the ability to learn things. And kind of, they were saying that there's a finite limit to what you can do. And I remember thinking I'm going to cram everything I can right in my brain right up to that limit and go past there because I'm going to prove them wrong. It's like life is what you make of it. If you tell yourself, oh, I can't do this because I'm not good enough at that, and you're going to be right. If you tell yourself you can't do something, you're certainly right. If you tell yourself that you can do something, you might be right, you might be wrong, but at least you gave it a try. If you don't try, you're guaranteed to fail. So I guess the best advice I can give is try. If you don't try, you're never going to succeed. So you have to try in order to accomplish your goals.
Very true. Have you had failures in life, and how did you push through them?
Yeah, everybody has failures in life, but you don't give up. You try again. And I remember some person on YouTube gave a YouTube comment on some video or something. I said, my God, you're so persistent, or in a negative way or something. He said, you're so persistent. I replied to it, persistence, and that's how you get things done. Of course. He said, don't you ever give up? And I said, no, not giving up is how you get things done. So if something's not working, it's okay to try different angles. Or maybe another fun story as to how I got to be who I am. I played a lot of Magic the Gathering when I was younger. I played Magic the Gathering, semi-competitively. I played in the Pro Tour when I was a young man, and playing Magic the Gathering really helps you look at so many different ways to solve a problem. So I think a lot of people say, oh, here's the problem, there's one way to solve it. No, there's a million different ways to solve that problem. So I think playing Magic the Gathering helped me look at all these different ways to solve problems. So I think, okay, here's my goal, here's something I want to truly achieve. Maybe I can do it this way, maybe I can do it that way, this way, this way, this way, and like look at all the different ways, maybe try all the different ways, and keep trying different ways until you get to that goal you want to reach. So don't get into this mindset that there's only one way to do something.
Right. It's funny, I used to play Dungeons and Dragons.
I played that as well and loved it. Yeah, it was great.
Okay, so I know you went through some difficult times and some false accusations, I would say. I know you did serve some jail time, some prison time.
Yeah.
And this was on fireworks, where everybody was doing the same thing at that time. So this was obviously a setup. What do you think that was for? Was it because of your voice? Was it because of a revolution? Why do you think that happened?
So for anybody that doesn't know, back in like 1998 to 1999 and 2000, I was selling firecrackers on eBay. And this was pre-9/11. This was back when eBay had a guns and ammo section. You could literally sell like AR-15 assault rifles and ammunition and everything else on eBay. So it wasn't a big deal for me to be selling these. And dozens of other resellers were selling the exact same product. All sorts of websites were selling them. I wound up being the only person in the entire nation to be prosecuted for selling these without a permit. Even though the company I was buying them from had no permit, the manufacturer had no permit. Eventually, all these other businesses were just told to stop selling them, but they weren't fined. They didn't have to do any jail time. I was the only person in the entire world to get in trouble for selling these. And clearly, it was a politically motivated prosecution because I ran for California State Assembly at the same time. I called the ATF and FBI a bunch of jackbooted thugs and murderers in reference to burning to death a bunch of kids in a church in Waco, Texas. For those that are old enough to remember the Branch Davidians in Waco, Texas, yeah, they were religiously a bunch of, kind of nutty on the religious side, but like, that's okay. You're allowed to be a religious nut. Like, burning to death a bunch of kids in a church doesn't solve that problem one bit. So, anyhow, they got really mad at me for saying those things, and I wound up being the only person prosecuted for that. But if you look around the world, that's not an exception. It's almost a rule. If you're saying things that go against the status quo or the powers that be, they're going to prosecute you. Look at Julian Assange. Look at Edward Snowden. Look at Ross Ulbricht. If you do anything that disrupts the powers that be that want to control people, they're going to come after you. And don't be surprised if they don't come after me again for promoting cryptocurrency so strongly.
Okay. I'm actually wondering if YouTube will actually let this run. So what does success mean to you? Because a lot of people define success very differently, and this is something important to address. For other people, it's money. For other people, it may be family. For other people, it's making a difference in the world. What does success mean for you?
I think success means your own happiness. You have to decide for you what makes you happy. If sitting on the beach every day, sipping martinis makes you happy, figure out how you can make that happen. If working every day to, spread cryptocurrency around the world makes you happy, then do that. And so you need to look inside your own heart and your own mind and figure out what makes you happy, and then figure out how to be able to do those things that make you happy. So it's different for every person.
Do you think anybody can become successful in life, financially?
Yeah, if they try, but you have to try. If you don't try, you're guaranteed to fail. So you have to try. I guess if there's one piece of advice, is try. Like I can't count how many people I've met that have ideas on how to do this and do that and do this, and they have all the ideas, but they don't even bother to try. If you don't bother to try, you're not going to succeed. And I guess another piece of good advice is like read more books. Like when you can. Reading books, it's so incredible. It's like having a one-on-one tutoring session with some of the smartest humans to ever live by picking up the books that they wrote and reading the books. It's like you can absorb all the knowledge and thoughts that these people had. And I think I heard Ludwig von Mises say it, but he might not have been the first person to have said it, but he said, if I was able to see farther than others, it's because I stood on the shoulders of giants.
Yes.
And that's exactly right. And so by reading books, it's like you get to climb up the backs and stand on the shoulders of intellectual giants and see even farther than they do. And now we have the advantage of the internet. You can look up anything you want to know anytime. So read books and use the internet is my advice.
Okay, the other day I was actually interviewing Patrick Bet-David from Valuetainment. He suggested two books. One was The One Thing, and the other one was The Principles of Success, or The Laws of Success by Napoleon Hill. What two books do you suggest for our audience?
I think I would recommend Economics in One Lesson by Henry Hazlitt. Fantastic book. And another one that I'm almost hesitant to even call it a book because it's so short, but The Law by Frederick Bastiat. It's like 65 pages or something like that, and it's more of a long essay than a book. but it will change the way you view the entire world, and you'll see the world more clearly after having read that book. And I think both of those are available free online via PDF forms. So Economics in One Lesson by Henry Hazlitt and The Law by Frederick Bastiat, both fantastic books.
I'm going to make sure I'm going to get those books, actually. A lot of people don't study finance. They want to make money, but they don't study economics or finance. I think you should study what you want to get.
Yeah. And if I have to attribute my success in business, in large part it's from my study of economics.
So what does it actually take to succeed, other than the books, other than knowledge, other than economics? What do you think is the driving factor of success?
You have to try, and you have to try really, really, really hard. Don't get discouraged. Don't give up. Try. I remember when I was starting my business, my first business, Memory Dealers, as a young man, I worked every single day on it. Like it was my entire life. And, Friday evening would come around and I'd get home from work at maybe, 7:30 or 8 p.m. and I'd be there all day. And I'm, early 20s, my friends would come up, hey, Roger, let's go out. And I wanted to see my friends, but I'd tell them, I'm sorry, guys, I'm too tired. And I'd wake up Saturday morning and I'd work some more. So, that's, if you want to be successful in business, there's no substitute for hard work.
So there are sacrifices to be made.
But if you like it and you enjoy it, it's not a sacrifice. It's fun for you.
True.
I liked it. Every morning I was excited. And even today, I don't have to do anything. If I wanted to, I could be sipping a martini on a beach every single day. But I don't want to do that. This is way more fun. Getting up and working to spread more economic freedom to the entire world via the use of cryptocurrencies, that's way more fun than, sipping a martini on a beach somewhere. That's boring.
But did you lose friends along the way? Because when I say sacrifice, it could be also friends along the way that are lost. They don't understand. They feel threatened, or a lot of things. Maybe they hold you back.
Yeah, I guess I'm not as close with my pre-Bitcoin friends. And now pretty much all of my friends in my social circle are all people that I know from cryptocurrency stuff. And so I don't talk nearly as much to my friends outside of those circles as I used to. But all my friends that were outside the crypto circles, they're getting drawn into those circles. Like two of my buddies from my other hobby outside of work is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I have two buddies that I know from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And they're texting me this morning. They're saying, hey, they're going to go train. But they're also talking about the Bitcoin Cash upgrade that happened last night, and they don't work in Bitcoin directly, but actually they're starting to, and they're following it, and everybody at my jiu-jitsu dojo, they're all following the Bitcoin Cash news, and so it spreads that way too. So it's fun seeing it spread.
I actually know you did jiu-jitsu, that you were doing martial arts. I was going to ask you in your hobbies, do you think jiu-jitsu is another thing that helped your mindset, helped your success, helped you think?
Maybe. So kind of like Magic the Gathering, there's so many different ways to do something. In jiu-jitsu, there's so many different ways to attack your opponent, and you look for every different way, and if they block one way, you try another way. So maybe it helps, or maybe it's just a good mindset to have in everything in life. Look at what you're trying to achieve and try it from every angle and find the angle that's the easiest to get to your goal.
Did you have mentors in life?
My mentors in life were authors of books, right? My mentors in life were some of the smartest people to have ever lived, because I picked up their books and I read their books. So
very true, very true. So your hobbies did play a role in your success. What hobbies would you recommend people to get into?
Book reading. I can't say enough. Read more books.
So book reading and trying is the message so far. Great. So advice. So how actually was? Let's talk about Bitcoin a second. How was Bitcoin born? And then I want to move on to Bitcoin Cash.
So Bitcoin was created by somebody named Satoshi Nakamoto, or a group of people using that name. Nobody knows who it is. And through the efforts of lots of entrepreneurs, it became money for the world and was really starting to spread and get traction. And that brings us to probably the next question, I'm guessing.
Yes, how was Bitcoin Cash born?
And so the very title of the original Bitcoin white paper describing what Bitcoin was a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. And then later, after people like myself and others built the Bitcoin ecosystem to where you had businesses like Microsoft and Expedia and Tiger Direct and Newegg accepting Bitcoin for payment as cash for their merchandise, a bunch of people got involved in the Bitcoin ecosystem and said, no. Bitcoin's not supposed to be peer-to-peer cash. It's supposed to be a digital asset, digital gold, a store of value. Don't use it to buy things. Use your credit cards. But everybody that had been around for any time, they said, no. It's right there in the very title of the Bitcoin white paper. It's a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. And the people that disagreed with that and thought it should just be a store of value, using censorship and propaganda and all sorts of dirty tricks, basically stifled the adoption of Bitcoin all over the world. And so the people that saw through that said, screw you guys, Bitcoin Cash is Bitcoin. We're going to keep going on the original roadmap that led to Bitcoin being successful to begin with, and that's Bitcoin Cash. And so if you look at it objectively, I think a very, very strong argument can be made that Bitcoin Cash is Bitcoin. And the thing that everybody's calling Bitcoin today, yeah, they're calling it Bitcoin, but it's not the Bitcoin described in the Bitcoin white paper, and it's not the same economic formula that led Bitcoin to being successful in the first place. That Bitcoin today is Bitcoin Cash, and that's why I'm busy promoting Bitcoin Cash, not because it's Bitcoin, but because it's useful. If something's useful to people, they're going to use it. If it's not useful, they're not. And BTC stopped being useful in commerce, so that's why I'm using Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, you mentioned in your talk that if there was something else that came along that was better, you would definitely get into that and support that.
Just like I hope something better than my current iPhone comes along, because I'm going to start using that.
Yeah, I haven't upgraded after the 7. I didn't find it. But
and that's a perfect example of the friction that's involved, because like it's a lot of work to upgrade phones. It's a lot of work to change from one cryptocurrency to another. So it has to be so much better that there's enough motivation for someone to overcome that friction and want to take that step. And so that's something that I learned from my study of economics, is that there's stickiness from moving from one thing to another. And so you have to be so much better than the existing thing that it overcomes that stickiness and that attachment. And that's why we're seeing some pushback, because a lot of these people using BTC, they say, oh, Bitcoin Cash is stealing the Bitcoin name and we don't want to move. That's some stickiness that we have to overcome by being so much significantly better than the current BTC chain. And I think we'll do that, but I can see clearly what's going on, because reading these books by these famous economists, and they're not good because they're famous because they're good.
Yes.
It's important. That's important to understand the distinction of people that are just plain famous, or people that are famous because they're good, or they had like a good deep understanding of something. So like Justin Bieber is famous because he's, I guess, good at music, arguably. Ludwig von Mises is famous because he had a very, very deep understanding of economics. Adam Smith is famous because he had a very deep understanding of economics. Focus on the people that are famous because they were actually good at what they did, not someone that's famous for some stupid reason. So.
Exactly. Do you think there's a place for both Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash? Bitcoin, let's say, as something to accumulate, an investment, and Bitcoin Cash being something to spend, to use every day.
Well, there's obviously room for both of them, because both of them have been existing side by side for over a year now. So that's the empirical evidence. And I'd like to point out to people, if the empirical evidence contradicts your preconceived notions or your theories, it's time to reevaluate your theories, right? So, but if you think about it, like, let's say you're living in the U.S., what do most people in the U.S. use as a store of value?
Gold.
They use They use the U.S. dollar.
Yes, yeah, right? You're talking about the 96%. Yes,
yeah,
very true.
Everybody uses the U.S. dollar because you can spend it anywhere. Some people use gold, but it's a much, much smaller percentage than use the U.S. dollar. And the reason they're all using the U.S. dollar is because you can spend it anywhere. And a small percentage still use gold today, but everybody else is using, or almost everybody's using the U.S. dollar. In Europe, what does everyone use for the store of value?
Euros.
The euro, because they can spend it anywhere. If Bitcoin Cash becomes spendable anywhere, people are going to wind up using that as a store of value, even though you have all these BTC economically ignorant people saying, no, we're going to be a store of value even though you can't spend it anywhere. Look at the empirical evidence around you. The dollar is used as a store of value because you can spend it anywhere. In Europe, it's the euro because you can spend it anywhere. If Bitcoin Cash becomes spendable anywhere, that's the one that people are going to use as a store of value, not the store of value coin.
Question. It could also be something like 2 to 5% of your portfolio in Bitcoin, which would be the equivalent of something like what people should go holding gold,
sure.
And then the rest would be Bitcoin Cash, since the masses will be using that.
Yeah, and I own some gold. I still own some BTC, right? And I'm not here to tell anybody what they should do other than what they think is the most useful in your life. If you think something is useful in your life, use it. If you don't. If you think Bitcoin Cash is useful, by all means use it. If you don't like Bitcoin Cash, don't use it. That's fine. I don't care one bit. It's your life. Your life belongs to you. My life belongs to me.
Another question is about the fork that's happening now between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV. So it's ABC and SV.
A lot of acronyms floating around.
Would you like to comment on that? Is there something you would like to say?
Yeah, it looks like it's pretty clear. We now have Bitcoin Cash, and it's not even clear if Bitcoin SV the chain will continue at all. But again, it's the same story. If you like something, feel free to use it. If you don't like it, don't use it. It's that simple. So,
yeah. I didn't like the way Craig Wright played the game, to be honest. I'll say it on camera. I don't care but I don't want to get into it more.
I'm not going to argue with you on that front.
So what I personally believe, I'll be very honest, when I first saw Bitcoin Cash, I got mad.
A lot of people got mad, yeah.
But as time went by, I saw you. I saw you on stage. I saw you talking. I saw what you did with promotional material, which I want to show more. And I realized people are not investing in Bitcoin Cash. They're investing in Roger Ver, the voice of Bitcoin Cash, the one that's believing, the one that's giving everything. And that's how I knew, and I know, at least I'm on camera saying this, it's not going to fail. Because you are really pushing. It's a passion and something you really believe in. And I can see it right here from t-shirts at this conference, giving them around to people, stickers everywhere.
Lapel pins, yeah. Here.
Lapel pins, which I
have
will,
a whole pocket full.
Which I will wear.
More, so.
Which I will wear proudly from now on all my suits and anywhere I go. Because I have learned, we have talked before, and I have learned a lot from you. And what I really liked, which this surprise right here, which was a golden ticket under all the seats where people could win from anywhere from $1 to $1,000 in Bitcoin Cash. That's one of the best promotions I've ever seen. And it has been done in different ways, but not in the cryptocurrency sphere, not what I've seen so far. Am I correct in this?
As far as I know, we're the only ones doing that, yeah. So, and we'll be doing it more and more. So if you see me at a conference, you can... it looks like up to $500. It says on the ticket, so it depends.
Okay.
Sometimes it's $1,000, sometimes it's $500, depending on the event. Apparently,
okay.
So we came to this event with kind of short notice, to be honest. But we're going to be doing it more and more. And if you see me at a conference, you better believe it. You're gonna leave the conference owning some Bitcoin Cash. So.
First person that comments gets this ticket. By the way, they can scratch it at their house. Okay. Where do you think the Bitcoin industry is going? And by that I mean cryptocurrency industry, Bitcoin Cash, everything.
I think if something's useful, more and more people are going to use it. And it's clear, digital currencies are super useful. So many people are starting to use it. So the adoption is just going to get more and more and more. And if, from an investing standpoint, if you're looking to invest in cryptocurrencies, look for the ones that are actually useful, that people are going to use. And what's the most useful use case? Buying and selling things, of course. So look at the ones that people are going to use as cash. And that's why I'm so bullish on Bitcoin Cash.
And where do you think our attention should be focused?
What problems can be solved in your own life? Right? So look in your own life, what problems can you solve with cryptocurrencies? And if there's a cryptocurrency that can solve those problems, that's the cryptocurrency for you. And that's one of the other reasons I love Bitcoin Cash. You can save 30% on Amazon using it on Purse.io. That means a $100 item now costs $70 worth of Bitcoin Cash. That's a big deal. And in fact, here's an entrepreneurial idea, right? You can buy things on Amazon for a 30% discount and then turn around and sell it on, eBay or Craigslist for 5 or 10% less than Amazon, which still most people are going to get excited about. So, and people are doing that right now using Bitcoin Cash. Purse.io is the website to do that.
Sorry, say it again?
Purse.io.
Purse.io, so we got to check that out. Yeah. You just answered the next question, why Bitcoin Cash will succeed. I want to ask you something. Do you have any morning rituals that you do, like every morning when you get up?
I wake up tired every morning because I stayed up so late working on Bitcoin stuff the night before. So morning rituals, actually, maybe this is different than a lot of people though. Like I may wake up tired, but it's probably less than one time a year on average where I actually have to set an alarm clock to wake up. I only wake up when I wake up. I try to never, ever, ever, ever set an alarm clock. Pretty much the only time I've ever had to set an alarm clock was when I had to go to court when I was being prosecuted by the United States government, or when I was in prison. They tell you what time you're going to wake up. But other than that, I never, ever, ever try to set an alarm clock. And I don't know if that's helpful or not, but that's been the way I've lived my life. So for good or worse or bad, I never set an alarm clock.
I think it depends on your lifestyle and what's good for you. And a lot of people say you have to wake up at 5, you have to wake up 6. Other people, it really depends.
I know for my own body and my own mind, if I wake up without enough sleep though, my mind is cloudy all day and I lose my motivation to work and do things. Whereas if I got enough sleep, then I can work all day and I don't get tired. And whereas if I only get 4 hours, I just think, maybe I'll just watch YouTube videos all day and not do anything, and the motivation is gone. So getting enough sleep for me really helps on the motivation front.
Well, next time you do that, maybe you can help with my YouTube channel. I'll get some watch time. What are some questions you wished people asked you? Because a lot of times people ask questions. I'm asking questions on success mindset, on Bitcoin Cash. What would you wish people asked you?
You're the first person to have ever asked me, what do I wish people would ask me? I think I just kind of wish people would take responsibility for their own lives and figure out what they want to do for themselves. It's not my job to tell other people what to do. You know, everybody watching this video, your life belongs to you. My life belongs to me. So decide what you like out of life and go for it. And as long as you're not using force or fraud against anybody else, you should be allowed to do it. Another book I like, Anything That's Peaceful by Leonard Reed. It's not a very famous book or anything. He wrote it maybe in the 40s or something like that. But to sum up the book, anybody should be allowed to do anything that's peaceful. Think about how much easier and simpler and better the world would be if you could do whatever the heck you wanted as long as it's peaceful. I'm a big fan of that philosophy.
Okay, you wanted one more question. Is there anything else, any other advice you'd like to give your viewers, or for the book that I'm writing? Is there anything you want to say?
Think for yourself. Don't believe something just because somebody told you, or don't believe it just because everybody told you it. Just because everybody thinks something doesn't make it true. Everybody used to think that the world was flat. That didn't make it true. Everybody used to think that church and state had to be the same entity. That didn't make it true. Everybody used to think that government had to issue currencies. That doesn't make it true. And even today, everybody thinks, we can't survive without a government. Just because everybody thinks that doesn't make that true either. So stop and think for yourself. Think independently. Make up your own mind.
You do realize you just opened up a can of worms for flat earthers, right? Okay.
Coming in the next video.
Okay, in the next video, what I want to do, I want to show how easy Bitcoin Cash is to transfer and use. And I have my Bitcoin Cash wallet right here. I'm going to do a little bit of a twist. Whatever Roger actually sends me, I'm going to use as a competition on the next video after this, or on my YouTube channel or something like that. So
I'm going to open my wallet. And what you can do actually, if you go to tools.bitcoin.com, you can print up a paper wallet that has a private key, and it'll physically be a piece of paper. So you can do a live demonstration where you'll send the money from your phone to a piece of paper, or you can show to the piece of paper and then hold up the piece of paper. And the first one of your viewers that scans the piece of paper will get the money from the piece of paper that came from your phone, that came from my phone right now.
That's great.
So go ahead and hit receive.
Okay, I'm hitting receive.
Yep. So
this is the. Oh, do I have to show that?
You can show it. All they can do is send you money from that.
Okay, so you can send me money here if you want me to, have a good time.
I'm going to scan it so I can send you money. So
okay.
Now I've scanned that, and I'm going to choose which one. I have too many wallets on my phone. I'm going to choose this wallet. And I'm going to send you $100 that you can give away to your viewers.
Awesome.
So the fee to do that is about 1/10 of a penny. So I'm going to hit slide to send on my phone. And we'll watch right here. It's sending that transaction. Payment sent.
It's
and
sent.
If you hit the home button right here, you'll see right here, you now have $100 on your phone as it loads. Just like that. So
that was very easy. That was amazing. Roger, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Check out Roger's channel. Check out what Roger has to say. I'm going to leave links for anything, your website and everything else we can give our viewers.
And if you like this video, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, like the video, hit the bell notification so you're notified of other videos. And if you like what I have to say, come on over to the Bitcoin.com YouTube channel and subscribe over there as well. We put out lots of content all the time. I think you'll like both channels. Thank you guys all very much.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you, guys. And until next time, keep succeeding.